Hi everyone, welcome to Everyday Life and Finance with Robbie. I'm Robbie, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about getting ready for the future. I know that in some of my other videos I've talked about finances and becoming financial secure, and that's a little bit about, a little bit of what I want to talk to you about today. So today we're going to focus on retirement plans and getting ready for retirement savings, and so forth. This doesn't matter whether you are a teen, 20, 30. The earlier you start, the better, so that you can live your life. You can even, if you start early, start saving early, you can retire early. You'll have funds that will, work for you, when you retire, when you decide that you want to go on and do something else. You want to, leave the 9 to 5, or if you have one. But it's definitely good to get started. The sooner the better. But even if you are, a later starter, there's no time like the present. So the one thing that I want to say also is that if you already have retirement savings, now is a good time to check those plans. Whether you have a retirement plan at work, such as a 401k or a 403b plan, or a thrift savings plan if you work for the government, or even a pension. Now is a good time to do a financial check and figure that out. But the one thing that you want to make certain is that you do have a retirement savings plan. Because yes, we do. If you are employed, you do have access to Social Security, when you become of retirement age, which keeps changing. They keep, moving the goalpost, so that's changing. So you want to make certain that you have your own funds set aside, no matter what happens to Social Security. I'm not saying that it's not going to be there, because I think it will be there. It's just there, how they're going to allocate the funds that we've contributed. Yes, you and I have contributed to the Social Security fund, through FICA if you are employed, or if you're self-employed, you pay a self-employment tax, and that goes to the Social Security fund. Okay, so it's a funded plan. It's nothing that the government's giving you. It's what you've invested in, so that you'll have security when you retire, or when you're of age and can retire. You may retire ahead of receiving Social Security, and we'll talk about that, in another video, because many people do retire early. Some people retire in their 40s, 50s, and they're not eligible for Social Security. Typically, you're not eligible until 62 or better. 62, that's partial. You would only be entitled to partial benefits, and I think for full retirement, it's either 66 or 67, depending upon the year that you were born. So I'm getting ahead of myself, and we'll talk more about that, because I love talking finance and how it works with everyday life. But when you make a plan and stick to that plan, you're fine. You don't have to worry about it. So today we're just going to talk about, checking what you have, looking at, what you have established for your retirement. If you have the option to participate in an employment related retirement savings plan, I strongly recommend that you do that. In some instances, companies will match the amount that you put in. You may put in 5% of your income each paycheck, and they will match it by the same. In some instances, some will match 50%, some will match 100%, up to a certain percentage. And in most companies, it's usually 5% or so. Okay, so you want to make certain that that's the first step. You want to make certain that if you do have the opportunity to participate in a plan with your employer, contribute, even if you start out small, because the one thing that I want to say is people, may look at it as, oh, 5%, that's a lot, but remember that's pre-tax income. So it's coming out before tax. So it's not taxed. And that means that you're reducing your taxable income. So yes, you will see a slight decrease in your paycheck, if you contribute, but it's not the full 5%. It doesn't, it's not, you're not going to see it like that. So try it. And the one good thing about the employment plans is that, let's say you choose 5% and at the beginning of the year you decide, oh, I want to take a chance and see if I can, deduct 5% and whether I can live off the remainder of my salary with that 5% deducted. And then later on you decide this is too much for me. I think I chose the wrong amount. You can always go back in and change. Most companies, there's no penalty or anything like that. You can change. Usually it may take 1 or 2 pay periods to go into effect, but you do have that option. So try it. If it doesn't work for you or it doesn't feel good, sometimes at first, deduction, may sting a little, but then you get used to it. And then it's almost as if, it's natural. It's like, you're paying yourself, you're paying a tax, but that tax is for you and that goes into your account. So, I strongly recommend doing that. Also, with the employment related savings plans, you can also, if you have a hardship and need to take it out, you can take it out. In some instances, it's governed by the IRS, whether whether you're going to be penalized, but you have access to that money. It's not like you don't, but you want to really, really leave it alone unless it's a hardship. So again, I do recommend that you establish a contribution if you have access to an employee plan. And the other thing, if you set up any type of plan, any type of retirement savings or even savings accounts, but we'll talk about that, later. Always make sure you designate a beneficiary. And if you already have a 401k plan in place or employer sponsored plans, then I suggest you check your beneficiaries at least once a year to make sure that they continue, it names the person that you'd like to receive your benefits in the event that you don't receive them. So you want to make sure that that's in place, because even if you have a will and the will states, oh, I want my 401k plan or my employer sponsored plan, the funds in there to go to someone, and there's someone else named as the beneficiary, the will does not, supersede a named beneficiary in most states. Again, check with your financial professional, check with an attorney in your state, but in most instances, it does not. And so even if your will stated you wanted, your funds to go to a certain person, if you named a beneficiary and it's someone other than that person, that's not going to stand up. It's the named beneficiary. So you want to, maybe once a year, maybe at the end of each year or the beginning of each year, you review the beneficiaries on all of your accounts, even your savings accounts. Like if you have a checking account at your local bank or something like that, you want to make certain that you have, a beneficiary attached to those accounts so that it doesn't have to go to probate. Because if you don't have any beneficiary named, then and something happens to you, you pass away, that will have to be probated. It'll have to go through the court to determine. So in order to avoid that and make certain that your heirs are, taken care of, or whomever, your friends, whoever you want to leave it to, has access to it immediately, you want to add a beneficiary, okay? And so I think that's a good thing also, to set a time frame. The beginning of the year, end of the year is always a good time to take a look at the beneficiaries on all of the accounts. Make sure they're named. Make sure they are, the appropriate person. Because I have a friend, and many years ago, a family member passed away, and she never changed her beneficiaries on her accounts, but she thought that her will superseded um, the named beneficiaries, or just never thought about it. I can't say what she thought, but she had named her daughter in her will to receive the funds. But when she had set the her employer plan up, she had named another relative, and that relative she named because at that time her children were young. So she figured, I'll name this relative, they'll take care of my children in the event something happens to me. And her children were now adults, and she updated her will but never updated the beneficiaries. So you have to make certain that you go and update and review your beneficiaries on a regular basis, on your life insurance policies, on your any retirement savings plans that you have. You have to take a look at those. So go take a look at that, so everything's in order, and then you don't have to worry about it. These are things that you don't have to look at on a day-to-day basis, but you want to make certain that everything's in play. Once you start contributing to a plan, the money's coming out, and the fund is growing, and you go from there. So the other thing that I want to talk about is investment options. So when you contribute to any type of retirement savings plan, you have the option of choosing how you want your funds to be invested. Do you want them to go into money market accounts? Do you want them to go into a mutual fund? Or do you want them to go into individual stocks? You have the option, whatever they offer. They'll give you a group of stocks or mutual funds and so forth, and you can choose. But you want to make certain that you review those too on a regular basis, maybe annually, to make certain that whatever you've chosen, however you've allocated your funds, that you still feel that way, and you still want the funds to be contributed in that way. Again, speak with your financial advisor, or speak with the financial advisor of the company that holds the funds. They usually have financial advisors that work for them, and you can tell them what your investment goals are, retirement goals are, and they can make suggestions for you. But you make that final decision, because remember, they're not working just for you, they're working for the company. So remember, you make that final decision. You get advice and guidance from people, and then you think about what they've told you, and then you decide what you'd like to do. But again, I'm not giving financial advice, just telling you what's available, and stating that you may need to speak with a financial advisor, or if you have your own financial advisor, you can do that as well. But take a look at your investment options. Make certain that they're invested how you want them to be invested, and that they're invested in a way that will help to secure your future, because it's all about preparing for the future and making certain that whenever you decide to retire, that you're able to do the things that you want to do. If you decide that you want to retire when you're in your 40s and you want to just travel, you want to make sure that you have enough funds in your account so that you can do that, and you don't have to worry. You can just enjoy life, sit back and enjoy. I mean, that's the beauty of being financially secure. So I think I talked about everything with the employer work plans. But let's say you're self-employed and you have an IRA. Pretty much, the same thing applies. You want to definitely check your beneficiaries on that, make certain that it's in order. You also want to make sure that you're contributing on a regular basis. You can set that up yourself. You can, say, okay, I'm self-employed, or I'm not employed and I want to contribute a certain amount. You can contribute a certain amount. Again, this depends on your age and so forth. You'll have to talk to a financial advisor, because there are different types of IRAs. There are regular IRAs and there are Roth IRAs. So you'll want to talk to your financial advisor about those, to figure out what's best for you and whether you qualify, because there are certain qualifications for each, and there are also limits, as far as an IRA, how much you can contribute each month. But those plans do, most companies, investment and brokerage companies do offer automatic investments, whereas you make monthly contributions to those, and they will make those contributions up to that level, that maximum level. But be careful. If you have two different IRAs, you want to really, really, watch that. If you have two separate IRAs that you're contributing to, let's say you like one mutual fund and it wasn't available at, the brokerage company that you also do business with. You want to make certain that the combination of those two, the combined amounts, do not exceed the maximum amount that you can invest each year. Each year, the government sets a maximum amount that you can contribute. So you want to make certain that all combined contributions do not exceed that amount, because if you exceed that amount, you could be facing, a penalty. The IRS may impose a penalty on you, or those funds will need to be removed. And or so, but again, speak with your tax advisor, but that's something that you definitely want to be mindful of. And again, making certain that you look at your investment options, making sure you review your beneficiaries to make certain that everything is in order and that you're investing in the way that you'd like to invest in. Some people, want to go for, low risk, so they just want to put everything in a money market. But maybe you want to diversify a little bit and say, okay, I'm going to change my portfolio and allocate some to a money market, but maybe I want to do a few individual stocks. Maybe I want to tinker with mutual funds, starting, I want to be in this bull market, and you want to, invest in mutual funds. That's something that you may want to do as well. Okay. Now, lastly, I want to talk to you about pensions. So pensions, pretty much, I want to stress that this is something that's offered by not a lot. Government employees have pensions, state employees, some companies, but a lot of companies have moved over to, employer-sponsored plans like the 401k plans or the 403b plans. So if you have a pension, lucky, you're lucky. So, so that's great, but you want to check your eligibility status, make certain that you're meeting all the criteria. Check, the when you're eligible, your eligibility date, when you're able to retire, because, with these pension plans, sometimes they just, once you hit 20 years or something like that, you can retire and you'll be eligible to receive funds. And it doesn't matter, it's not age related like the other plans are, So you want to check that. You want to also check your marital status. Make certain that that's accurate. If you're married, you want to make sure that you change to that. Maybe when you started the company, you weren't married and you're now married, or vice versa. If you're no longer married, you want to take care of that. So you want to make certain that everything's correct with that, and just to give you and just to take a a temperature check of what's going on with the fund, looking at its performance, what the funds are invested in, and just get an idea. But stay abreast of everything that's happening with the money that's in the fund, because that's your money. So take care of that. And I think that's all for today. But I just will offer for this episode. But I just wanted to check in with you and make certain that you are on, a great financial journey, and that it's working with your everyday life. So I'm Robbie. I thank you for joining me. And if you like this content and you want more, please feel free to like it, subscribe, share, and comment. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. I definitely check my comments. So thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.